One second.
Very good evening to one and all. Here we are with another wonderful session with Mrs. Jyoti Iyer, who is going to give us several insights about the gap that has to be filled uh, with regard to the performance of the students, which we are terming as the parent-teacher bridge. So, this bridge, how are we supposed to construct? How that gap has to be filled is what we are going to discuss today. And as a person who is very much known to deal with students of adolescent age, because we have been seeing Jyoti ma'am personally also in school earlier while we were working together, as a professional teacher and as a 21st century teacher, I believe she is the right person to give us more insights about parent teacher bridge. So I don't want to take much more time of you all. Immediately, let me welcome Mrs. Jyoti Iyer, English facilitator for the students of CBSE, ICSE, and IB curriculums, also the city coordinator of Hyderabad of SNTTC. We welcome you, ma'am, and the screen is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Welcome, everyone. So, this is one topic where nobody as a teacher can say, okay, this doesn't concern me. Because a lot of the topics that have been taken in the past, it might be something that is very specific to English teachers or very specific to language teachers. So, we can't say that here, right? This is more of, even if you're not teaching in a school, you still have a parent to deal with. So we all know that we're working towards the same thing. Let's figure out how to build that bridge and break down any walls that exist. Before we start, I insist that you use chat for the questions, because I might forget if you ask something and I'm in the middle of something and I might forget the question that you asked. So if there are any questions specifically for this topic, please put them in the chat. Whereas if you are wanting to participate, definitely unmute and participate very freely. And I would appreciate, and I do see a lot of faces today, like at least two more faces. I'm happy about that. I would like a little more, like a few more people to turn their videos on, because it creates that interaction. At least when you are speaking, I would really appreciate if you could do that. Apart from that, uh, let me start with a little bit of a story time. The reason for this is that somewhere I feel like we all feel that we are in the right spot. We are the right people to take a decision for this particular thing, that kind of a feeling. And I would like to share with you all an experience that I had. So, this was actually, since Sir mentioned about the particular time when we used to work together, I would like to mention this. This incident happened in that school where we used to work together. And what happened was, there was this parent. I'm in Hyderabad, as you know, so the local language is Telugu. I'm not very proficient with Telugu. And I think that as an adult, when you learn a language, there's a little bit of fear also. You don't want to say the wrong thing. Don't want to be grammatically wrong as a language teacher. So you avoid speaking in the local language unless you are really good with it. So I remember there was a parent, actually, both the parents, neither of them could speak English. And as an English teacher and the class teacher of that child, every time they would come with this sense of disappointment. The first time, I think it was a sense of disappointment. The second time that they came, there was almost a sense of frustration on their face. And they said something to the effect of, "Oh God, ma'am, you really need to learn Telugu." And I felt really offended. And I remember now, in retrospect, I feel I was quite angry. I got really angry at them, and then I didn't say it in so many words, but I think I was quite terse and said that, well, I am here to teach your child English, not to learn Telugu. And which, factually speaking, correct. But did that build any bridges? What do you think? What is your opinion on it? Anyone?
Obviously, it would bridge, right?
Um,
Because till now you didn't get the chance to connect with the parent. Now, after learning a language, at least 20 to 30% of connection might have happened, isn't it? At
Okay,
least they will feel happy. Oh, finally, the teacher has learned Telugu now. At least, even if she's not speaking, she will be in a position to understand what we are trying to convey.
correct. I did not mention this. Sir knows this incident. That's probably why he said that. I did say this in Telugu so that it gets conveyed. Suchitra ma'am, you were about to say something.
I was saying that the proper communication doesn't take place, so proper information doesn't reach the person concerned. That is what I
Correct.
want to say.
I would also add that somewhere, because I was angry, I didn't say it in the nicest way. And telling somebody that, my job is not to learn Telugu, but to teach a child English, factually correct, but it's hurtful. Now, after so many years, I can openly say that, yeah, I probably, that was probably not the best way to put it. That was not me putting the best foot forward. And that was not me trying to understand the parent. That was just me getting angry, probably because I hadn't had tea, I had my own thing going on. And we all tend to do this, right? We later on might even justify it by saying, अरे मुझे इतना गुस्सा आया था क्योंकि मुझे सुबह ऑलरेडी प्रिंसिपल मैम से डांट पड़ी थी और ऊपर से ये आके मेरे सर पे नाच रहे थे. And we do kind of get agitated. But think about it. They have their own life. I'm sure they have their own issues that they are dealing with. So somewhere we are, in therapy, this is called like the world. We both of us are coming from our own worlds. We have our baggage. So I have my baggage, the parent has their baggage. What we need to do is we are meeting on a bridge. So we need to come together. We need to meet in such a way that we, obviously, this is not like a couple. So we are not unpacking each other's baggage, but we need to meet each other at a bridge in such a way that we don't feel like we are throwing things at each other, but we feel like we are trying to build a commonality. And at the end of the day, we both have one goal in mind, which is the success of the student. Correct? For us, hopefully, for a good teacher, every student is their child. And for the parents, imagine, definitely a child. Correct? So I think a little bit of understanding from our side is also needed. See, as a parent, there might be, Srividya ma'am, absolutely true. There might be times when we feel that, the teacher is doing X, Y, Z, and that what they're doing is wrong. As a teacher, you might feel the other way around. It's the truth is somewhere in between. There's your truth, there's my truth, and there is the truth. So let's try and kind of come together. That's the whole point of this entire session. What are we going to do through the session? We are going to learn the first thing we are going to learn is the 3 E's of connection. So what I mean by that is, like I said, we are trying to build a connection, correct? So when we say building a connection, we all understand what connection means. Connection means we are trying to make sure that both of us feel connected. We are trying to make sure that there is a feeling of oneness within us. We are trying to make sure that we don't feel like we are, like I said, from different islands. But how do we achieve this? So usually we say there are various steps, but specifically saying what are the elements of connection. When it comes to a parent and a teacher, there are these 3 points on which we need to connect. First is to engage the parents. So we are trying to engage the parents in the child's learning journey, because after all, there might be some active parents who are absolutely interested in, taking part in the school, making sure that, they contribute really well to the PTA meetings. Sometimes a lot of schools also have PTA associations, and there are a lot of active parents in the PTA associations, which is great. Take advantage of that. Taking advantage makes it sound like a negative thing, but make sure that you're using that valuable feedback that they are giving. But in case of parents who are not that able to do that, make sure that they are engaged in their child's learning journey, because at the end of it, they might say, okay, I don't want to come to your orientation meetings, but if you explain why they need to come, that's when that initiative will come from their side. Which takes me to the next point, which is educate the parents about the school's policy, their expectations, and the strategies that we're using. So at the beginning of the year, there is a reason we have orientations, right? We need to make sure that the parents know exactly what is happening and why it is happening. That becomes extremely important. Remember, we are not doing anything in school just for the sake of it. And first, we need to remember it before we educate the parents about it, which is why we should be completely aware in order to achieve that level of understanding, so that we can convey it to the parents as well. Another thing is that we often say, I think I have heard this in staff rooms a lot, that, oh God, these people just don't understand. I guess we need to make them understand sometimes. And somewhere, giving our perspective to them, trying to listen to their perspective. Again, like I said, we'll meet somewhere on middle ground. Finally, empowering parents to, like, with tools, with support in order to help their child at home. This is especially more important at an older age, because if you think about it, like if your child is in, say, nursery, the parent knows what to do. The parent is educated enough to be able to help a nursery child. It's when the adolescence hits that becomes really complicated. Okay, how far do I become a helicopter parent? Do I just leave the child to do whatever they want? What exactly should I do? Sometimes, as teachers, because we have like a third person view, yes, we treat them as our children, but there is a little bit of, we are farther removed than the parent. So we are able to see things that they might be missing just because of proximity. So it is our job to make sure that we empower them with the tools to support them, to support the children. And with these 3 points, I want to do a little activity. I'm hoping that a few more people participate. I only see one camera on it right now. So I think I will ask Suchitra ma'am to be the first one to go. I'll explain what the activity is. So we are going to do a simulation where I am going to be the parent, and one of you, a different person each time, is going to be a teacher. So assume that you are going to be the class teacher in most cases for this. I'll explain whatever is needed. All the details I'll give it to you. But we are doing 2 things. The person who's doing the simulation with me is just being the teacher, but I want all the others to be active as well. And remember the 3 E's: engage, educate, and empower. And think about what exactly from this is missing, or what could have been done better in the interaction. Suchitra ma'am, because you're the first one, I'll already kind of warn you. It's going to be like almost a confrontational tone. Don't take it personally. Imagine it's a parent, right? By that time, the others, I want to be ready for the next one. So the first situation is, here's the student profile. This boy's name is Aryan. He's in 9th grade. You are the 9th grade class teacher. He's academically, he's just average. He has good potential for excellence, but he's not really pushing himself that much. He's recently, like you've been seeing a lot of incomplete assignments, not really participating much, basically just becoming a little less participative. About the parent, that's also important. This is a lady who is a corporate professional, and she travels quite often, and she's missed the last two PTMs. So there is very minimal engagement with the school communication. Like not even a thumbs up when the WhatsApp message goes. So sometimes you're not even sure that the parent has read the message. And she values education, but she feels that, it's the school's responsibility. What am I supposed to do about it? That is the kind of tone she is coming with. So now I have just entered your class, and let's have that conversation. Are you ready, ma'am? The others, please take notes. Yes. I want feedback on our conversation. It's okay if you give feedback to the parent as well, but remember, we are teachers, so we won't be able to control the parent's reaction. We'll have to control our reaction, correct? So I'm the parent here, Suchitra ma'am is the teacher. Ma'am, I've been waiting for the past half an hour. You are always late. So many parents and everybody is talking to you for like 15-20 minutes. How can you allow this? This is absolutely not okay. And what is this? You are flooding my WhatsApp with messages. This is not acceptable, ma'am.
Ma'am, have a little patience. Actually, you are a parent at home and I am the parent in the school. So I need to inform a lot of things which goes on in the school so that you understand, even if you're not in the school, you know what your child is doing in school. That is
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of see because you made me late. I'm getting so many messages from my office also.
Ma'am, as a parent, you have the responsibility for your child. That's why you need to, keep yourself free for a certain period of time, as because this has been informed before to you that you need to attend the PTMs, and it's a very, very good thing, important thing, because you will come to know when you meet other parents also, you will come to know where your child stands, and I need to inform you a lot about your child. Recently, I have seen him lots of incomplete assignments, and all the teachers are complaining about him. So I would like to inform you about all these things.
Honestly, and that's why I understand, ma'am. I must tell you, I do value education. It's not like I don't care what he does in class, but I feel like he's in 9th grade. He should be doing this on his own. And see, I'm paying a lot of money to this school. Isn't it your responsibility to make sure he does his assignments? Make him stay back if needed.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. But actually, what I wanted in the PTM, what we need to do is, that's very nice that you actually want him to stay back. For this, we need 1 day prior information, so that you are also not bothered if he reaches home late. And
is this also like a requirement from the management?
Actually, this is there's a stay back form, and it has to be signed by the parents as well. That you are that we also know that you are aware of his stay back. Otherwise, it will be a chaotic situation.
Have you sent this to me? Did I miss that message? I'm sorry.
Yeah, long back I had sent that the WhatsApp group, so that you come across all these things.
I'm sorry.
So that we bridge the gap. Yeah. You don't feel sorry. It's better. You can check it next time so that there's no problem with.
Thank you.
With both of us.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll be a little more active. I hope you understand.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Because it's it's a symbiotic association.
Ma'am, he might not be doing well, but he really loves you as a class teacher. And whenever he talks about you, he has such good things to say about you that I felt like I can just leave him up to you. But I think I need to be a little more active parent.
Yeah,
thank you so much, ma'am, for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for having so much of faith on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so for cooperation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Suchitra, ma'am. Great job. So a few things
You're
that I have
welcome.
in mind.
Thank you.
Anyone who has feedback on this interaction? Punita ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
any feedback on our interaction?
Uh, Very good interaction, and it ended on a positive note. That's the beauty of it. I
Correct.
liked it.
That's the point, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to end on a fight.
Because ultimately the child is uh, for only 1 year with the teacher, and ultimately the child remains the mother's baby only, so she should have little more concern.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyone else? You can put it in the chat if you're feeling like you need.
Can I say something, ma'am?
Absolutely, sir.
I believe you have taken lots of time. And I want a clarity. Was this happening during the PTM?
Yes, sir.
So can't we do that? I mean, is it possible to schedule another time for such sort of sensitive
Correct.
discussions? Because
Yes,
in PTM, if
absolutely.
this is happening,
Hmm.
however might be the arrangements, even if the arrangement of parents sitting is happening outside your classroom also, there is a chance that the parents who are sitting there quietly might get motivated with her, it happens. We are undergoing all these things, right?
Correct,
So,
exactly.
I mean, however, for the session, it is wonderful. But I have one suggestion. In case it is really happening, we should also schedule it for some other time so that the parents who are good won't get motivated. With
To
someone
kind
else.
of,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it becomes like a catalyst for more parents to get agitated. Also, couple of things that I had in mind, which I wanted to talk about. First thing, there is this beautiful principle when it comes to interactions, especially when the interaction involves conflict. It's called feel, felt, found. Whenever somebody is telling you something which you do not agree with, do not directly say that, no, you're wrong. First, even if you don't believe, just for the sake of it, say that, yes, I think the way you are feeling right now, I also felt that way earlier, but later I found this. So let's put it to our situation. The parent is feeling that like you are flooding their WhatsApp with messages. Here you could say, ma'am, I agree. This is like this new age thing that we are not used to. So even I used to feel that, like this is an extra burden on even us as a teacher to put messages every day. But that's what I used to feel. But now what I have found is that with that direct connection, I don't have 15 minutes of long lectures to give to parents. Instead, I can have that interaction quickly that day itself. And the parent also does not have to, talk about something really important in the past to the child after the PTM. So that's why it is really important. Also, so Chitra ma'am, I really like how you brought back the point that, yeah, there are stay back forms and that I have already sent you. You have not seen the form because of this reason. Another thing which you could do, a suggestion would be, when it comes to a parent who's extremely busy like this, a suggestion would be to, say that, okay, maybe you can't come on the PTM day. Again, if the management allows, like sir correctly pointed out, give them a specific time so that they are also not waiting. On the other hand, you can't do this, that okay, there are so many parents and then you are just calling the one who's like in a really important job, because it's not fair to the other parents, right? So instead you can give them a specific time. That time they won't have to wait, there won't be any other parents, right? Say a lot of schools have these specific days of the week or a specific day in a month, usually the last day of the month, where parents can be called, things like that, right? So that makes it easier for them. So they are already in a more calm mentality. So they are coming to you with such a calm kind of disposition that you are not in a confrontational tone with them. Another thing, the last point would be, probably here the main issue was the problem that there was no engagement with the child's education. Here you can I think you made a good point saying that, just like you are the parent at home, I'm the parent in school. That kind of sparked something in the parent's mind, saying that true, she is putting that much effort and I have not really done much for my child. Agreed, it is important, like, providing for the child, for example. I don't know, it could be a single parent who has to have that job, otherwise the child probably can't go to school. So somewhere that sense of understanding that, yeah, ma'am, I understand that this is difficult for you, but somewhere I think a little bit you will need to step in, otherwise he's feeling that there's nobody to question me. Those kind of wordings, a little calmer tone, that really helps. Great job, Suchitra ma'am. Let's go to the next situation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anybody volunteering, or should I call out someone? Prashanti ma'am, would you like to engage?
I'll try.
Sure, ma'am. So you are a parent, you are a teacher, 7th grader. This child is your your maths student. The parent has come to you for mathematics only. You are not the class teacher. You're just the mathematics teacher. Okay. So let's figure out what is happening. The student profile, the student is a girl, Priya, in 7th grade. She has recently performed very badly in mathematics. She's very good at, memorizing things, but when it comes to application questions, she is not able to figure out what is happening. So more formulas and all you ask her, she will narrate like anything. But when it comes to actually understanding and applying those formulas, she is not able to do it very well. She shows anxiety when it comes to problem solving activities. Coming to the parent background, I am a parent who values the traditional education methods, the older, rote learning kind of methods. Whereas I feel a little concerned about the new CBSE assessment pattern, saying that, okay, this is not seeming to work. There is a sense of unfamiliarity. I feel like, okay, what is all this new, newfangled competency-based learning? This is not working out, is what I feel. This is my perspective as a parent. And I'm considering that I should give her extra tuitions, put her in tuitions where she will be taught the concepts, but through rote learning. So this is your background. Keeping that in mind, Prashanti ma'am, are you ready? I can't see you. So Prashanti ma'am left. Okay, maybe she can do the third one. Anyone else? Punita ma'am, would you like to help me out here?
I can try.
Okay. So I have come to again, parent-teacher meeting, but you are only the subject in charge. So it's going to be a shorter meeting. Remember, we kind of spend more time with the children from our class, right? Ma'am, I'm really worried, ma'am. Priya used to gain like 70-80% till she was in 5th grade. Now suddenly look at her maths performance going down like drastically. I don't know what to do. What is all this? Your question papers only I can't understand. How am I going to help my child?
Ma'am, actually the concept has totally changed. She was good till fifth class, where rote learning and formulas were used. Now they have to apply those formulas and understand by applying their logic. So she needs guidance and lot of practice.
Why all this change? When we were young, we learned by rote learning only. No, didn't we succeed in life? What is the need to change all this?
Because future engagements and future job prospects, they need all these things.
But in engineering and all, they will use this.
Not exactly the same thing, but problem solving is there.
Okay.
Once
I'm thinking, because you also are saying that rote learning she's good at. So I'm thinking I'll put her in a tuition where they'll teach her the same thing, but with like rote learning. I think that will be a good idea, no?
no, I don't suggest that. Unless she puts in self study and self you can say practice, maybe that will help under some guidance.
Ma'am, can you help out a little? Like if you could take any
No, I'm already busy and engaged with so much of work, online or offline hybrid teaching. So I don't uh,
Could you
have any
suggest
time.
any like anybody who can help me out?
You can take help of anyone in your relations who is adept in mathematics. He or she can guide her.
Okay, ma'am.
You have to explore on your own.
But if she has any doubts, will you please help her out?
No, that way I am ready.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, any feedback for this? Come on, educators. No feedback. The
I
chat
want to say
is
one
sad
thing.
today.
Yes, I want to say one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I said, like, you cannot say that you take help of your colleagues and other people. We are the educators, so we need to guide the person. I think that is what I wanted.
Sure. Anyone else?
Also, we can say that you can stay back if you need any help from us. You need to stay back, and then we can, or else tell us beforehand whatever doubts you have. We can find out some time so that I can help you out. This
Correct.
can be done.
Correct. Agreed. Anything else? Anybody wants to add anything?
Jyoti
We
ma'am,
can say that we can take remedial classes. Correct.
Jyoti ma'am, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Good to see you back.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like to add anything?
Ma'am, little bit like ma'am already said that we cannot say that thing that you can take help of others. These things as an educator we should not answer like this. And yes, remedial classes and like 1 hour teacher stay is there in the school. That time can be utilized for coaching or special, but with parents' consent.
Correct. We kind of mentioned this in the first one, if you remember, where stay
Yes,
back.
that, ma'am.
Correct. And yes, I think a very important point was made by
I said
Vidya
she
ma'am.
can take she can take guidance
Yes.
while practicing at home.
Correct. I'll come to that. Just want to address Sri Vidya ma'am's point, which is that the parent should speak to the child and remove the fear of the subject from the child's mind. I think this is also an important point. See, what happens is we are all kind of used to a certain way of life. And when we as adults are so, see, we all know that change is the only constant, and yet we struggle with change. Let's face it, we all struggle with change. So for a child, you can understand that it is going to be difficult, right? But it is our job to help them with that transition. Now, the transition may be easier for some children. It might be a little more difficult for some other children. Now, Punita ma'am, I agree that you did not really say that, take help from others, but what I think both Suchitra ma'am and Abhilasha ma'am were trying to say is that as a teacher in a school, if you say that, I I can't help you, but I can help you with that. Like you can take help from others. It feels as if you're shirking responsibility. That's not what you're trying to do. That's not what your intention is, but that's what it sounds like. In fact, I gave you an out there saying that, if she has any doubts, can she come to you? That should have been your response. I hope you understand. This is not like, I'm not trying to say what you said was wrong, but sometimes we say certain things which might sound perfect in my head, but it sounds wrong to the other person. So
it should have come firstly from my side only.
Correct. Exactly. So here there are two things. Again, like remedial classes, I agree, but like let's look at it practically. There might be teachers who are overburdened. Shortage of teachers, we all know. We are all very aware of. So there might be teachers who are genuinely overburdened and will not be able to take remedial classes. But what the teacher could do is maybe just once a month, they could have the child stay back for maybe 1 hour and just explain how to learn. They are not sitting there and teaching them the sums, but explain how to think about it. That is one thing. Another thing which Srividya ma'am correctly pointed out, I think the child somewhere, what happens is children are sponges. Whatever we say, they absorb, and they are doing exactly like there's this saying that children don't do what we say, they do what we do. So if the child sees you as a parent, like this is what you could say, that if the child sees you as a parent stressing out about mathematics, saying that, oh, I can only memorize things, I cannot understand things, this is so difficult, all these new things why they have brought, when they see you using such language, they are going to assume that that is true, and they are going to argue with you, with even the teacher, if they genuinely feel that way. Sometimes this becomes a stumbling block more than anything else, and we don't want that. So you could even guide the parent to say that, see, it is new for you because you are an adult. It's difficult for you to learn new things at this age, but it's not going to be that difficult for your child. Don't put that fear into the child. Like, don't say don't put that fear, but sometimes your words could, make the child fear maths, a subject that she was so good at earlier. So let's try to stay away from that kind of language, especially in front of the child. And believe me, give her some time, she will catch up. And follow through with your words. Actually, make that effort to help her catch up as well. We are not saying we are going to get her back to the exact same percentage. Don't make such promises, but she should. And I think mathematics is a subject where there are so many children, even adults. I have heard stories, horror stories of adults who have nothing to do with maths in their grown up life, saying that, I still wake up with nightmares that I forgot it is maths exam and I went prepared for some other subject. So there is something about maths that we all as a generation have kind of instilled fear in our children. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Correct? Great. Punita ma'am, you gave us a few good points, and I like that we had that discussion. Great point, ma'am. I think
Thank you, ma'am.
Prashanti ma'am is not welcome, ma'am. Prashanti ma'am is not back. So would anybody else volunteer for the third situation? Abhilasha ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. I can try.
Would you like to? Yes, thank you. I like the enthusiasm. Okay, so the student profile, let's understand. So this is Vikram from 10th grade. He's preparing for his board exams. A very important grade. We all know that. So he's academically very strong. In fact, he is consistently getting 85% and above scores. But he shows a lot of anxiety, stress. And in a recent incident, he told the school counselor that he feels suffocated, and we'll find out why. Now, if you look at the parent background, it says she's an extremely involved parent, extremely involved in child's academics. She creates like rigid study schedule saying that this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to do. And she frequently contacts multiple teachers about even minor concerns. She prioritizes academics over student well-being, and balance, like, just balance in life, like work-life balance. There has to be study-life balance as well, right? So that is not being prioritized. So keeping all this in mind, Abhilasha ma'am, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, I am very happy with his performance. I'm quite happy. Is there anything you want me to do? Do you think I should change his schedule a little bit? Do you think he needs to study, like focus a little bit more on any one subject, or is he doing well?
Hello, ma'am. Most welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's my pleasure meeting you, and it is great that I'm speaking with you, and you are concerned about Vikram. So here I would like to say that he is academically doing very well, ma'am. So don't worry about it. He is in 10th standard and now he is a teenager. He is able to understand where to focus properly. So I wish and I suggest you not to worry about it. We teachers are there to take care of each and every part of his studies, and as well as the counseling part also will be there to guide him that how to go for the 10th board exam. So anything from your
Counseling. He needed some counseling. Was he not doing well on something?
No, ma'am. Counseling means for the 10th grade student, 12th grade students, they should not undergo stress, anxiety. In this age, it happens. So it is a
But this
common.
is the age to take stress. It's okay. 1 year only. Let him take stress for the last few months. It's okay.
No, ma'am. As you are a parent, but we should understand about Vikram and this age also. And although he is in 10th standard, so that much of stress and anxiety should not be there. We should give space also to the child to undergo the studies and how to go for the board exams. So that much of stress is not required at this age, ma'am. So we should be cooperative with the
And
child.
sometimes I feel if I don't sit on his head, he's not going to do anything.
No, ma'am. It's
Can
not
I
like that.
become Vikram's father, please?
Sir.
Sure, sir.
Now I am Vikram's father. Mrs. Abhilasha Verma, I believe you are the class teacher of my child.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to meet you, sir. Most
But
welcome.
I am not, I don't think it's really, I don't think that I am having the pleasure of meeting you because my child has scored only 85% of marks, and I've been paying you people lakhs of rupees since years. And what is this? My child is getting 85% of marks in 10th grade. How do you think he is going to score well in 10th grade boards? And how is that I mean, in which college is that he is going to get seat for 11th and 12th? And how is that he is going to crack IITs and IIMs? Do you have any individual plan for my child? What
Sir,
is this,
please
Mrs.
don't.
Verma? I'll have to speak to your principal. And she's a lady who always sits in her AC room. She never gives appointments to parents like us. आप लोग तो फीस कलेक्ट कर लेते 10th तक हर महीना.
No, sir. Please don't worry about all these things, sir. We are
I
also
am
the.
not worried, Mrs. Verma. You please feel worried.
Yes, sir.
Please,
Of
you
course, sir.
people please feel worried. I am not at all worried.
No,
नहीं,
sir.
ठीक है, अभी लास्ट 2 महीने है, आप गुस्सा मत करो दिलवाओ टीचर को.
Sir, we are
गुस्सा दिलाए तो क्या करेंगे ये लोग मुझे?
10th grade student, 10th grade
1
teacher,
लाख
sir.
पे किए हैं. कहाँ से आते हैं? पेड़ से आते हैं 1 लाख रुपए 10th
I'm
grade
so
में.
sorry about it, sir,
And you
that you
people
are not.
call yourself as very good CBSE school, established CBSE school, 38 years of industry, that this and all. 85 marks कुछ 85% कुछ परसेंटेज होती है मैडम. आप बोलिए अपने बच्चे की अगर 85% ऑफ मार्क्स आती है आप क्या करेंगे?
No, sir. As a
और
teacher, we
जितना
are
भी
giving
गुस्सा
our.
आता है मैं तो मेरे लड़के के ऊपर लेता हूँ. वो सोचता है कि पापा बहुत क्रूर है. आपके वजह से हमारा फैमिली रिलेशनशिप भी आजकल बहुत डिटीरियोरेट हो रहा है मिसेस वर्मा. और आप क्लास टीचर हो इनकी. आप बच्चे को तो 5 साल से जाते हो. आप खुद सोशल सब्जेक्ट लेते हो. आप ही के सब्जेक्ट में उनको आउट ऑफ 100 कुछ 92 आया है. बाकी 8 मार्क्स कहाँ गए मिसेस वर्मा?
सर आप टेंशन मत लीजिए सर, बच्चा आपका बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है सर, पिकअप कर लेगा। अभी
मैडम,
हमारे पास
इंटेलिजेंट
3 मंथ।
इंटेलिजेंट करके बोलने से क्या होगा? मार्क तो
सर
आना है ना लड़के का।
सर हम लोग के ऊपर बहुत मैनेजमेंट प्रेशर है सर, अगर हम बच्चों को नहीं देखेंगे, हमें देखना ही है, उनका रिजल्ट अच्छा करना ही है सर, इसीलिए आपसे ज्यादा हम लोगों को प्रेशर है। सो आप टेंशन मत लीजिए, हम लोग है देखने के
प्रेशर
लिए
तो
सर।
प्रेशर तो पेपर पे नहीं दिखती। आप तो बोल रहे हैं कि आपको प्रेशर है। अगर आपको सच में प्रेशर है तो मार्क तो आना है ना, 100 आउट ऑफ 100, 99% तो कम से कम आना है ना मैम बच्चे को।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल सर, हम भी अपनी तरफ से कोशिश कर ही रहे हैं
मैडम,
सर।
अगर
और
नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट अभी तो ये तो PT1 है ना, PT2 तक अगर मेरे बच्चे का 100% मार्क्स नहीं आए तो मैं बुलाऊंगा टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया को, DC को। ठीक है,
बिल्कुल
आप
सर।
लोग 6 साल से हमारे फीसें ले रहे हो और बच्चे की मार्क्स इतने 85% कुछ परसेंट होती है, कैसे सिर उठा के घूमे हम अपने खानदान में? When
Sir,
I
nobody
compare
is
my child
perfect.
with the children of my brother and all, they are doing better. एंड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स का तो कुछ मत बोलो। वो कौन सा इंग्लिश बोलता है, मुझसे भी गंदा इंग्लिश बोलता है लड़का। स्ट्रेस एंड एंग्जाइटी, क्या कुछ किया उसने स्ट्रेस और एंग्जाइटी के लिए? आप बोल
Sir,
बोल के बच्चे से बुलवा रहे हो ये सब।
sir, you can't compare your child with his cousins. Nobody is perfect.
नो नो, आई विल कंपेयर।
We are there sir, we teachers are there sir, you have paid so much, so we are responsible for each and everything sir, you don't worry about it please.
ठीक है मैम, PT2 में देखूंगा मैं फिर।
Sure sir, sure.
Sir,
Thank you sir.
efforts करने 1 मिनट, 1 सेकंड।
Okay, feedback time.
एफर्ट सर, एफर्ट्स करने से होगा ना सर, स्ट्रेस लेने से कुछ नहीं होगा।
ठीक है मैडम, ठीक है, फाइन।
Okay. I think हमें बीच बीच में ही फीडबैक मिलता गया। Punita ma'am, good point. I think only one thing that I would say, जो थोड़ा I think one thing I must really appreciate Abhilasha ma'am. जब मैं आई, I was all stressed out. Okay, is he doing well? Do I need to do more? Do I need to put in half an hour extra work? Abhilasha ma'am, just by giving that sweet smile and saying good morning, nice to meet you, that itself calms the parent down so much. Don't launch into the discussion immediately. Great strategy there.
Thank you.
Now coming to the confrontational and almost attacking parent that my on-screen husband was. Now here, I agree that such parents are few. I will not say that every parent is going to be this way, but they are not a non-existent category. Parents like this do exist. They are there.
Yes.
So what do we do with them? I think Abhilasha ma'am took the approach of, okay, let's just let them vent out their feelings and say, don't worry, we'll take care of it, and let it go. Another approach could be to actually address, not in a confrontational manner, but try to address, usually in the couple, if there is if both of them are coming, usually one will be a little more ready to listen. Address them and try to explain why the fact that your child is getting 85% and not 90% or 95% may not be because the child is not studying enough. It might be because they're studying too much. It might actually be because they have crammed their head with information, and because of the pressure that you as a parent have put on them, they might be feeling so stressed that they are not able to use that information that they have and put it down on paper. They might be thinking that, oh, I need to do this and that and that and that, and they don't have time for relaxation. Sometimes, especially in such cases, again, like Ravikant sir had said for the first incident, it would be a great idea to tell them, we need to talk about Vikram in a little more detail. Can you come back on such and such date? And have the discussion at that time. The reason is, then even if you're saying something which they might not like, yes, the child does lose interest because of the pressure. So even if the child is doing something which is sorry, if you are talking to the parent in such a way that the parent might get angry or agitated, you're at least not influencing the other, parents to kind of climb on the same train. And what also happens is there is a feeling of, this person is, because these kind of parents, basically, they are looking for that kind of attention. And once you give them that attention, that itself calms them down a little. Correct? So here, you can also empower the parent by giving them specific things for the child to do. Tell them that, okay, you feel that the child should be, yes, we can give positive reinforcement. And you could tell the parent that, yes, you feel that the child should study more, agreed. But I give you this challenge. Give me 1 month where your child is doing one thing of his choosing for half an hour every day. You don't ask him what he's doing whatever he likes, and let him do that relaxation. Give me 1 month for the child to do that. And second thing, don't ask him about his grades, just appreciate what he has done. Do this for 1 month and let's see what the difference is. Yes, some kind of hobby. It could be anything, but it really makes a difference to the child. The child will feel that, and let's face it, it will usually be right after the PTM, right after the parent met. So the child will feel a sense of gratitude towards you also, saying that, okay, this teacher got my parents off my back. Correct? I think there was one message that yeah, we can also talk about the strict checking in 10th grade. A very good point, Suchitra ma'am, where we can talk about how in schools we do this, right? We are a little stricter in school so that they get used to that. And then in the final exams, they will be definitely scoring more than they score in school. So, very good point. I actually had missed that point. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Suchitra ma'am, for bringing that forward. Now, these are situations. These are kind of confrontational situations. Welcome. Right? But now let's talk about how to make sure these situations don't occur in the first place. Going back, what can we do to make sure such confrontation does not happen? Very simple 3 things. One is build a connection. When I say build a connection, if you're meeting your parents only from PTM to PTM, they are bound to think of you as, people who are selling something, and they are your customers, and they need, like, their customer is king, and they need to be catered to hand and foot. Correct? Instead, if it is possible, if you have open houses, if you have workshops, casual meetups, things like this. So yes, meet parents in more regular intervals. In fact, I would say probably the best place to interact without any ulterior motive, any specific agenda in mind, is probably those, if your schools have annual days, fun fairs, things like this, where it is not about education at all. It is more about extracurricular. So for parents who are very education focused, and when I say education, they only mean academics and nothing extracurricular, there I have a suggestion, may or may not work, but you can ask these parents who are more academic focused to become the helping hands for you during your annual days and sports days and things like that. That will give you a chance to talk to them informally, where you're not trying to get an agenda through. And that is a great way to have an interaction with them. So informal interactions. Second is appreciation. Yes, sometimes we could use parents as judges as well, especially for younger classes. It's absolutely a great idea. Appreciation, acknowledge the parents' contribution. Even when you are talking about a PTM, just if you start by saying, I really appreciate for you to, like, you coming right now, like Abhilasha ma'am said, I think that calmed down the parent a little bit. And that is important because it's a small gesture. It feels like nothing at all. And yet it makes a huge difference because the teacher, I'm sure you as a teacher have many a times felt that हम ही सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स तो कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे, हमारे सर पे छोड़ दिया बच्चों को. I'm sure the parent is also somewhere feeling the same thing. Again, talking about the baggage that we are coming with, let's understand each other's baggage and try to lighten the burden a little bit. Correct? Small things. I would like to actually, we are running out of time, but I would like to give you an example. I am also a parent. My daughter had a project that was there in school, and for the project, I had just happened to go to pick her up, and the teacher looked really stressed. So I asked, just as a teacher, you have that thing, no, that poor thing, she's stressed, let me help her out. So I asked, ma'am, are you okay? Like, do you need help? So she said, yeah, I have to make like 200 birds or something to stick on the walls. I said, I can help you out with that. And I did. It was not at all a big thing. But on the day of the project, that when the project was presented, she just started by saying, I must appreciate everyone for coming, but I must especially appreciate Udita's mom, Jyoti, for helping out with the birds. It's a tiny thing, but little that small gesture goes a big way. And those kind of small appreciations really matter a lot. Finally, collaboration. This is more of a mindset thing than a practical thing. Think about it as teamwork. It's not, okay, your child did this, your child did not do this. That's not what we are trying to do. We are trying to make sure that the child is a well-rounded individual. Once the child passes out from school, it should be a well-rounded individual. It should be a child who is like, they should be a good citizen of the country. They should be, in the future, like we have probably done with many of our teachers, they should think of us in positive situations. Oh, this is what ma'am was saying, let me go and meet ma'am again. That should be the attitude that they come with. And I have had parents come back to us, like after the child has passed out, and come back and say that, we really miss you. In college, nobody's making much of an effort and the child misses you, things like that. Try to build that kind of rapport. If that happens, even if there is a little bit of a, little bit, let me put it bluntly, fight in the PTM, it won't escalate if you have done all this and created that background, that foundation for the parent. Correct? So let's talk about two little incidents. Now you're going to apply what you learned throughout the session. Okay? Two little incidents. I'm going to just ask you one question for both, which is, how would you handle this differently? The first incident on the left. A teacher notices that a student's academic performance has been declining. Despite multiple emails and messages, the parent has not responded. When the parent finally attends a meeting, they express frustration, saying they were unaware of the issue. So you were making an effort in telling them, but they were not really making an effort to get back to you, and now they are blaming you for not informing. So the teacher, what she did was, she said, I have already informed you, it's your fault you did not look at the messages. This is the response of the teacher. How would you have done it differently? What would you have done differently?
Instead of a mail, I could have called up that parent and talked to them directly.
Okay.
Or maybe, yes.
More hands-on. Anything else? How about the response given at that point? Could that have been a little different?
Response in the sense which I didn't.
The teacher just said, I've mailed you multiple times, you didn't bother answering, and now you're telling me that you didn't know about this issue. So what Suchitra ma'am said about engaging with calls instead of emails is basically making sure that the parent is engaged and trying multiple methods, not doing it for the sake of doing. मैंने तो मेल डाल दिया, तुमने नहीं देखा, वो तुम्हारा प्रॉब्लम है. And that same attitude is showing up in the immediate response as well. Correct? That I mailed you, it's your fault if you didn't see it. Instead, if the parent, if you could say that, ma'am, I understand, but because maybe it could be a school policy, you can't keep calling parents. So you could say, because of the school policy, we are allowed to only male parents. So now whatever happened has happened, but can you please make sure that you check your email on a more regular basis? You could do that, right? Again, just the tone will help. It's not like it's a huge difference. I said the same thing, but the tone helps. Second situation, a teacher calls a parent to discuss the disruptive behavior in class. The parent becomes defensive, insisting that the child is well behaved at home and it must be the teacher's fault. Now, what would you do in this situation? What is the correct way to respond? मेरा बच्चा राजा बेटा है घर पे, तुमने कुछ किया होगा. Has any of you faced this as a parent where you felt that maybe the teacher was wrong?
Ma'am, nowadays this is only happening, ma'am, that the teacher is wrong, the child is right.
I think we are from a generation where even if we were right, the parent was like, teacher ने थप्पड़ मारा, हाँ, तुमने क्यों बंद नहीं कर दिया, आपने कुछ किया होगा. But now it's the other way around. I agree.
Everything teacher has done, the child is innocent.
Correct. No, but my question is, as a teacher, what do you do about it?
No, what we can say, ma'am, that we can means the teacher should be very much aware of the child pros and cons. क्या उसके अंदर अच्छी बात है और क्या बुरी चीज है जिसको रेक्टिफाई करना है. सो पहले तो नेगेटिव से तो शुरू ही नहीं करना. ऑलरेडी पेरेंट एजिटेटेड है टीचर से. सो वी कुड talk about all the good points what is having, and then the negative points in a very positive manner, that let's sort out these issues. We have found out some things here. So parents को एक positive note में कि let us both collaborate together and let us see that what he does at home, and this is my notice observation in the class. So can you please give your point that am I right or wrong, ऐसे करके कुछ positive note में, so that it in a very diplomat manner we can handle this situation.
Sure. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. We actually have a behavior form. The child is given that form in which he writes that he or she who has done the work writes that I did this because of this, and I will not do this, and I will follow whatever remedy. Okay. He will write and he will sign it. And then the parent is
agreed. Only two things. I think two things I need to respond to and two more things I need to say. So Chitra ma'am, this will work out only for children who are honest. Let's face it, there are some children.
No.
नहीं, मैं तो बहुत बढ़िया बच्चा हूँ, मैंने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं, उसी की गलती थी, सामने वाले ने मुझे मारा.
नहीं, वो दोनों ही लिखते हैं actually. They write whatever happened in the class.
But again, ये
two people are involved. But recently, it happened.
Ma'am, they cannot deny it because this written note goes into their dossiers.
Correct. But again, you have to remember that, see, children are not isolated beings. They learn from what they are seeing. And if they have seen that मेरी मम्मी तो हमेशा मुझे ही support करती है, मैं झूठ भी बोलूं तो मुझे ही तो support करने वाली है, right? We as a teacher during circle time, we need to first take that attitude out of the child. Then this will work. Second thing, you need to make sure, I think Abhilasha ma'am was talking about an interesting approach, which is, again, we often call it the sandwich method, where you sandwich your negative feedback with positive, saying that, otherwise your child is very good, very smart, but this has happened, but I think he will improve because I know the positive again. That way the parent doesn't feel as offended. Let's face it, we'll also feel offended if my child is being called out in the same way. Another point which Roompa ma'am said is we can show video clips if it is required. I would say avoid going that far if it is possible first. If it is necessary, absolutely go. And again, this will not happen on a call. They will have to come over. it is a longer process. Swikriti ma'am said, what about little ones who can't write? They are dear to
Also-
parents and they cook up a lot of stories. Agreed. Suchitra ma'am, you were saying something. I'll answer you, Swikriti ma'am.
Yeah, one more thing is anecdotal records. Like we have
Correct.
in previous classes, whatever we have.
So this is where,
that
you know, we all,
like
especially new teachers, kind of think that anecdotal records are useless. What is the point? This is just one more task they are giving teachers, and this is where it becomes that important. When you have anecdotal records, now it's no longer your word against theirs, it's history. They have past history of doing the same thing. So this has happened. Or sometimes you could even find out that this is a new thing that they have started. In that case, the second point that I wanted to talk about, discuss it more like how shall we solve this situation, rather than your child did this and you need to control your child. Here, you could take an approach of saying, ma'am, especially if the child has never done this in the past and this is a new thing that they have done, which in which case it's kind of fair for the parent to say that, you know, मेरा बच्चा तो कभी नहीं करता, हाँ पर आज पहली बार किया ना उसने. So in that case, what we can do is then you can talk about it, saying that, ma'am, I've never seen your child do this, and this is surprising even to me, which is why I want to talk to you, and I want you to talk to him. We have done our counseling from our end, but even at home, please talk to him. What is happening? Is he going through some changes? Is he getting agitated by something in school? Things like that. Yeah, okay, so Srividya ma'am said we keep the child away from his favorite activity for a while till he improves. May be possible with few students where there might be scope of improvement. I think this is best decided by the teacher, because the teacher who has a good anecdotal observation is the best person to decide this. So some children will take this positively, saying that अरे PT class में नहीं जाने देंगे अगर मैंने ये वापस किया तो. On the other hand, there might be some other children who will say, at the most क्या करोगे, PT class हटा दोगे, अब तो नहीं करूंगा. So it depends on the child. It differs from child to child. So only if you have really been observant, if you have done your anecdotal records, if you have really made sure that you have made note of all these things, that you will really be able to tell what it is that needs to be done. I hope I have, I think all of us have experience dealing with parents. It's not a new thing I have told you, but I hope I've done a little bit of a good job. Just changing your perspectives on certain things. Yes,
ma'am. We have to catch his weak point.
Okay, I think it's just the wording that I am a little apprehensive about, because it's more about improving the child than trying to catch him. That's the only thing. Otherwise, I agree what you're saying.
What he wants and what he doesn't want. So we can restrict him from doing what he wants for a change.
Again, I think it will work for certain children. It will actually backfire for certain other children. So for the children whom it will work, perfect. Another suggestion for children where it doesn't work, by the way, there are some children who are very sensitive. So for them, just talking to them helps. So you need to know the child really well in order to achieve any of this.
For example, if the child has a very good pencil box which he keeps showing other children, I can keep it with me till he improves, and then I will return.
Correct. Srividya ma'am, could you expand on that? Speech therapy helps. In what context were you talking about? I think I missed something. Okay, I think ma'am is typing the message. Meanwhile, thank you for the patience. I know I have extended beyond the time. I had fewer slides today, but we had a lot of discussion, and I hope it has been a positive discussion. But overall, if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Otherwise, sir, back to you. Just a minute, sir. Sri Vidya ma'am explained. Speaking to the child more often. I think here, what I was talking about, circle time, using it positively, not just as one extra thing to do, that really helps. Especially if you have done it from childhood, the child has come to a stage where just having that small conversation, one-on-one conversation helps. Great point. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, ma'am, I think you can stop screen sharing.
Yeah.
And I request you to kindly share the, what do we say, WhatsApp group link for the webinar group.
Yes.
So that was all about today's session, dear participants, and I believe it has been a wonderful time for all of us, including me. It's been a while that I have actively participated, and I am very much indebted to the resource person for that sort of spectrum that she has created over here. And that is all about today, and we will meet tomorrow. Hope you all have enjoyed. And as we all know, creating a bridge between the parent and the teacher is a very important aspect. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have to accept this truth that at times we have to give up on data and act more emotionally while dealing with the parents. That's how it is, especially as we are into private schools and organizations. That's how it is. Like my mantra is always one thing. If you are not praised, that is fine, but you shouldn't be, like pointed out. It. That's what I believe. Appreciations नहीं मिला तो fine है, but लेकिन काम करके हमें, like we shouldn't be in a position to take someone else negative feedback or something like that. That's what I believe in. It changes, the perception changes from person to person. However, thank you so much for joining. And let us see tomorrow. Let us meet tomorrow again with another session.
Sir,
I
about
want to
certificates.
I want to
Yes.
add one thing. Mutual hand holding with the parent and teacher goes a long way in child's improvement.
Yes, great, ma'am. Thank
Way
you.
of.
I want Jyoti ma'am to emphasize upon the process of collecting a certificate. You're on mute.
Thank you, sir. Sorry. So most of our sessions, like I said, they are free to attend. But if you want to collect a certificate, you can send. Sir, could you put the phone number down? You can send 50 rupees to the number that sir is sharing on the chat, 99089 25730. Share 50 rupees for that. And along with that, please make sure that with the screenshot of your payment, please make sure you're also sending your name, like your entire name with title and everything, so that the certificate is on the correct name. Sir, I'm not able to share the link. Could you please do that as well?
That's okay. Most of the people are our
Are
regular.
already on the. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. Lots of appreciations from the end of SLTTC for such a useful session, which was need of the hour because term 2 के अभी progress reports हैं देने के लिए, तो it's very important now. Yeah. Thank you one and all. We'll meet in tomorrow's session.
Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nice interactive session and thank you so much, sir. ऐसे पेरेंट आ जाएंगे तो रोज रोज हमें ट्रेनिंग मिलेगी.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Yes.